Hello, friends at Western Digital Support. I want to show you in an anomaly, or it could be a bug, or something that with certain conditions it produces something that is not expected. It is not too serious because I can overcome the issue, I believe, by limiting the size of the item, of the naming of a user that I create in the dashboard on MyCloud for my NAS. I believe it's a PR4100. It's a MyCloud Pro Series 4-bay NAS. There's the serial number. Let's see. Okay. So I'm going to sort of go over how I discovered this. So what I do is I use a page on my spreadsheet to go from one corner of the list. Oops. 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 Okay, so here from this corner, I have to hold the control key and go up with the arrow key. So I got all the whole column, and then I use the left arrow key. I'm still holding on to the control key, and that helps me select everything that I need. So, and then I go Control C, and then I open up a file. Now this is where I paste what I just copied. I select Control A and then Control V, right? It goes, the blue goes away, the selection. Okay, then let's see. Well, I go to the very bottom of the sheet and go back one space to make sure there's no new line, right? And then I select Save. Save is Control S. So I sometimes use that key combination, Control S. So now it's saved. Then I click on this is for N2, because I have N1, but I'm using N2. It has no data, but I'm setting up the users. I've already done it already, but here's what imagine that it's blank. Imagine that there's no users here, but it's already populated with users. And so I go down here and I would click on add multiple users and go import, and then go next, and then in this case I'll overwrite, and then I select the one I just saved, and you can see that it's this one on the top because I have it set for date modified, and the time is 5:50. Yeah, and it's already 5:51. So that's the one. It's the most recent. I select it and open it, and there it's set. That's the file that I just opened, or it's ready to be imported. Okay, so I click on, I had previously clicked here. That's what brings this up to add the file. So there it is. Oh, I lost it, so I have to add it again. It'll only take one file at a time, and then I am going to, what am I going to do? I'm going to add this file that I just created on the spreadsheet. Well, I did it yesterday. Well, it's been a work in progress for many weeks. And then okay, I click next, and what does that do? That loads it. It's ready to be applied. So I can go to any of these and see what's going to be applied. For this one, the username is going to have these items applied to it. So the quota 500 gigabytes. What is it 50,000? I believe because it's set for megabytes. I mean, it's saying 500,000 megabytes, but that's in the end it's gigabytes. Okay, then it's also going to set these shares to have, or I mean the user, this is the user's name, the user is going to have read-write access to these shares. There's how many? Well, you can count by, they're separated by a comma in this case. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This doesn't have a comma at the end. But there's 5 shares that this user, Alvaro, is going to have access to, full access, read and write. Now there's some that I want him to have read-only access. I don't want him to edit anything. He just can view it. So these are some that he can view. And there's a bunch of those. There's probably 10 or so. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay. So I can't do anything for this except to close it and then look at another one. So what did I just do? I opened it from here, and I could see what was going to be configured. So I can look further down because I have a lot of users the ones that begin with P are users. The ones that are Q are going to be shares, and also R's are actually shares, and S's and T's, and then there's Z's. These are shares that I added recently. And I discovered something interesting, that when I tried to add these shares, two of them worked. This one, oops, this one and this one worked. The other two had an X. They wouldn't work. You could add them manually, but I discovered that the name of the user, well, this is a share actually. Well, it's entered as a user, but I'm going to use it as a share. The name of this one and this one, the name was too long, I discovered. And then when I had those names too long, it put an X on the, instead of a check mark, it put an X. That meant something was wrong. So I didn't know it was too long, but I figured out that it was too long by making it shorter. And so here's the shorter version, because before it was like 17 or more characters long. So I reduced it to 14 or 13 characters. And with that reduction in size of the name, I was able to remove the X. It had an X right there and right there. So I shortened the name and the X went away. It left a check mark, and that means everything's okay and it would work. And so when it works, you click on that button and it's updating. It's writing over what I have. And after a few more seconds, it's done. Yep, there it is. And so everything worked well. I could verify by looking down here. Well, one way to verify is for me to go to p-info. Where is p-info? This is in alphabetical order. p_info. FGHI. There it is. This is a user that has full access to the Z files. They are Z this, Z that. They begin with the letter Z. And so it has full access. These settings on the left means full access. The one in the middle means read only. And the ones on the right is denied access. Okay, so it worked. And what I discovered, I show in a spreadsheet. If I go over here, Z shares, I discovered that those Z files, that's the way I originally named them. But this one had 19 characters and this one had 17. And they wouldn't work. So when I reduced this one, I renamed it, tried to shorten it as much as I could without losing meaning. So I reduced it from 19 to 14 characters. And also this one from 17 to 13 characters. Then it would work. And I said, okay, now let's find the limit. Like, what's the maximum? So what I did was, okay, I took this one and rewrote it as the same name, but I added numbers 1, 2, 3, and it failed. It failed in its original naming, Then I changed the name to this. It passed. I wanted to find out what's the limit. So I tried 3 more characters and it failed. I tried 2 more characters and it passed. So that means the maximum is 16 characters. The limit is 16 characters. If I go over 16, then it fails. That's what I learned in this little experiment. And I don't know if that's documented, but well, in my situation, that's what I was getting for some reason. And so that required that I rename those, and those were the longest file names or folder names, the longest ones that I submitted through the import user list. I can manually create folders that are longer, but I can't automatically do that using a file, import file. I'll get that X, and if I run it, it tends to reset things. I haven't experimented any further to see other possibilities, to see if I could do that perhaps, but for now I just wanted to report that I had to reduce the number of characters on the names I gave users and shares to be less than 17 characters. If I hit 17 characters, it won't work. So the limit is 16 characters. And I don't know. I hope this helps somebody out there. Thank you.